Okay, well, it's time for another episode of Mystery Man Talk Show. I guess this will be episode number 20. And if you're a fan of Alex Jones, well, I'm kind of an Alex Jones copycat, and I have a little bit of a different take on some of his, subject matter and whatnot. So I guess I'll start off with one of the main things, and that would be the fact that all the raised tension between Russia and United States and what's going on with all that. Well, I think this is pretty much just a little bit of a big, dog and pony show. I don't really think there's a big concern. It might be more or less just related to the dollars dropping like a boulder into, the Dead Sea, you might say. It's not very far to plummet, but it's going to have a big impact. Imagine a boulder the size of a 2-ton car dropping in there. It's kind of like, well, what do we do with this failing currency? Do we want a chip system? It's not going to be secure, Russia has all kinds of hackers. America has hackers. Bank accounts wouldn't be secure. Paper currency, oddly enough, is more secure. Even if it's printed on, paper, it's wood, it's old, it's outdated, it's still a more tangible, reliable source of what's the word, when people transfer money, just currency transfer. Having a brain fart moment, but it's kind of one of those things where I think the whole big issue here is the concern over Amazon and Walmart, and North Korea, is always a big issue. Some of the things through Amazon are having shipping delays and problems like that. For example, I have these blue jeans that I like to order from Walmart. They're called Faded Glory, and they sure are faded glory now. You can't even find the damn things. And I think a lot of the shipments from those North Korean sweatshops, which are about 100 times worse than China, they're slowing down. Amazon works through North Korea, and they have some shipping firm contracts with, some, I can't really go into detail about that, but they work with North Korea, they work with China. Target is doing pretty good because they're a little bit more smart about how they do business, but Walmart's having problems, Amazon's having problems. Some other stores, I was trying to talk about shoes and pants, can't go into a store without shoes and pants, well, what are they trying to do? Have people run around naked or something? I tried to go buy some shoes at Big Five a couple days ago too, and I like these shoes called Illusion by Denali Company. Obviously China, Chinese made, and then size 13, size 14, size 15 million, quadrillion or whatever. They don't have it. I asked them, well, do they have them in the Lakewood store? They're no. Try Westminster. Here's a list of where they might have them in stock, and it's like shipments of these merchandise. Shipments are going down. I don't know what's going on, why these stores aren't getting their shipments, of these merchandise. Target I haven't been to for a while. I went there about a month and a half ago to try to find just an album, a music album, Evanescence, and I went to Target. I walked in there. I got a few things, but I didn't come out of the store with what I went in there to get. I went in there to find a freaking music album, Evanescence, Fallen, or Limp Bizkit, Greatest Hits, or something you think would be there. And their music section, was a joke. The movies their movies section, the movies they do pretty good, like products like household stuff and things like that. They do pretty good with that. They have a little bit of a food department and stuff like that. But these companies, they're not really doing that great. And I think the whole diversion with Russia and everything with that big hoop-de-doo is just to try to draw attention away from the dollar to the petrodollar is to like 2 to 1 now. And it's getting very dangerous because the Federal Reserve is like panicking and wondering, how do we keep this ship afloat without doing a QE4 bailout, which basically would be a very big disaster for homeowners, small business owners, even the bigger companies could take a hit too, with this, the fallout of this possible QE4. If they can't find a way to, America ingenuity and America's, work ethic, it's coming back, but there's still that whole, group of individuals. They can't help it. They're mentally ill, they're disabled, they're handicapped, they're elderly. I myself, I'm one of them, and I can't help it. I took a walk around the block, and I live in a rundown area of California, and it smelled like somebody took a bowel movement in the trash can, and that's, near a bus stop, and they don't want you to smoke 20 feet from a bus stop, and somebody took a dunk in the frickin' thing. Do you think that's going to make the MTA, is that going to increase their revenues with people doing things like that? And it's like, I don't know. I don't believe in sticking homeless people in FEMA camps, but can't they do something more to help these homeless people find jobs? A lot of them could be rehabilitated. They might have a chance, for some kind of success in life, but it's like they need helping hands, they need Red Cross, they need people to, help these unfortunate, souls that are just, they're not doing much for the economy, and they could be a big boom for the economy, and they could pull us out of this, we're in like a depression, and they just keep propping up the dollar, and it just keeps getting more worthless and worthless, day after day. And it's like, the president, he's only one person. He has to work through the Congress and all kinds of, the Supreme Court and all these wheelings and dealings with all these people. It's a lot of stress, and it's hard to manage a country, a life, it's tough, it's a tough road to hoe. So like I was saying, this is more of like an economic review video, you might say, of just my opinion on the situation with our economy. It's not that great. As for domestic, imports, it's fair, but America, ingenuity, we have our .com, we have our, the food and, the food industry, imports, exports, that's pretty strong, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, slipping a little bit, but, we have PepsiCo and all these strong markets that, basically, we have, very little to work with, but what we do work with, we use to the most of our advantage, and that's, America's strength. And we don't have much of a left jab, but we have a mean right hook with our goods, our exports that we ship out to the poorer countries, that don't have access to clean water. And the problem is not that plane going by, but the problem is FEMA, and like other countries, like that need these resources and stuff, they don't even get their hands on them. And FEMA, they get money from the United States government, and a lot of it's mismanaged, and it doesn't even get back to the companies that supply the goods to the FEMA relief workers and FEMA coordinators that direct these like emergency response things. Like thinking about Hawaii, talk about a disaster area, what would you do if you were in a situation like if you had a major earthquake or a volcano or something like that, and you couldn't even get something, a cold drink, what if you couldn't get a hamburger? What if you couldn't get, it's just America, needs to quit worrying about Russia and all this mumble jumble and just try to take care of, business. That's the problem with America in a nutshell. They try to take on too much, we try to rule the world when we can barely rule the ground under our feet. And I'm going to keep this video short and sweet. If you like what you hear, then subscribe. This is being recorded off a very low tech, it's off a webcam. I'm going to get a better microphone soon. Maybe you like this tone of my voice better anyways, but either way, share it, like it, comment, give it a view, and just keep supporting me, because every little view, even if it's a single view, it means like $1 million to me. And I hope you enjoyed this little economics lecture, and God bless America.